Formula One is a sport filled with hows. How did Charles Leclerc get wins in Monza despite having all the odds against him? How did Nico Rosberg beat two champions in equal machinery? And especially, how does Max Verstappen do what he does?
Max Verstappen dominates the Bahrain Grand Prix. Max Verstappen wins. Max Verstappen wins.
Max Verstappen, you are a four-time world champion. That is a phenomenal achievement.
You know what, that is simply lovely.
Now I know I've spoken about Max more times than F1 team principals have flown to Epstein's Island, but the man just keeps cooking after every video I make. Max is the embodiment of an all-you-can-eat buffet. He just keeps serving. But I'm done starting driver videos with pure glaze. It's clear that Verstappen is among the goats of motorsports. We all know that, and if you disagree, you get your hands off me. So I'm gonna switch things up this time and start this video with the biggest criticisms towards Mr. Sid. See, people love criticizing Max for many different things. Temperament, aggression, not caring enough.
I don't care. How about that?
Though I will say temper is definitely Max's weakness. He makes questionable decisions when he's boiling hot.
Whenever anything is not going his way, he lashes out with unnecessary anger and borderline violence.
So technically George is correct here, but it's the right message, wrong messenger. Also, temper can be Max's biggest strength at the same time, so these points are easy to rebut. First off, Max was busted up by his dad. You can't just race your trauma away. There's a reason people who say I miss her before driving end up kissing a tree. Second off, at least be thankful Max is redirecting his frustrations to other cars and not his daughters. But the biggest complaint people have with Verstappen is how he makes F1 boring. Max being boring was the biggest issue people had with him since 2022. But in reality, even during his domination, Verstappen is actually one of the main reasons why F1 is so entertaining. Like, let's take a look at F1 if Max never existed. 2016, no Red Bull win in Spain, no seat swaps, and Mercedes dominates completely. 2018, the crash between Daniel and Max would never happen, or the beef with Ocon, which is good for them, but beyond boring. 2019, Max was the only driver trying to chase down Mercedes. 2021, no championship fight whatsoever.
It's a late lunch by Verstappen.
However, Max and Lewis fans would be getting along. But screw that, because that's boring too. 2022. Okay, you know what? We can give that to Charles. I think he's been through enough. 2023. Max crushed Perez and had the best year ever. Anyone who hates on that just doesn't like the winner if it's not their favorite driver. 2024 would have been completely dominated by McLaren, and 2025 would have been McLaren domination again. But thanks to Max Verstappen existing in our universe, the stakes in 2025 were so much higher because Lando and Oscar have to face a lion with daddy issues. And how Max is able to make F1 so fun to watch is through qualifying. Do you know how many surprise quali performances this guy has pulled off? More than I could count even with extra fingers. In Monaco 2023, Max was 2/10 down on Fernando Alonso in the first two sectors, but then he made it all up in the final one, taking pole by milliseconds. To be fair, I kinda get the frustration. When Max took pole from Fernando by a toothpick, I started punching air. But I can't lie, that's pretty impressive. And don't get me started on 2025. Despite McLaren having the faster car, Max got pole in Japan, Miami, Silverstone, Saudi Arabia, where he stole it by half a toothpick. Then in Monza, he had provisional pole. However, Norris takes it away, but just 2 seconds later, Max steals it back again. If pole position was a person, they would be Max Verstappen's bitch. Then Baku came along, where almost every single driver crashed. Lando didn't, but he still bottled Norris, so he got out-qualified by a Williams. While Max proceeds to set pole like he's about to lose custody of his children. Personal take, 2022 to 2025's championships deserves to be given to Max. You know damn well if he was in the McLaren, the only thing that could stop him is Zach Brown sitting on the car feeding Lando fries like the professional boss that he is. Oh, and in Austin, after McLaren causes a civil war between between their fans, Max gets pole again like his family's on the line. And I have to mention, even if things don't go his way and Max loses championships in the near or far future, which I know will bring smooth brains to call him washed, fact is we still owe him for making F1 exciting. The thing about Max is he can lose really badly and still make that entertaining.
Who's locking up? Who's going deep?
Like in Mexico 2025, in the middle of a championship fight, Max qualifies 5th, but then he still sends it into turn 1, goes lawn mowing, but still somehow ends up almost getting 2nd if it wasn't for the spirit of Michael Massey possessing the steward's room. Now, the question people are always asking is, how is Max so good? Well, I've said this before, racing is in his blood, sweat, and sperm. So Max dives into every racing category.
I like to try different kind of disciplines as well, just to test your skills in a different way.
And one of his favorites, iRacing, a sim racing game that he's on 24/7. Seriously. As an example, let me give you Max Verstappen's schedule during Saudi Arabia 2024. Sim race until 4 a.m. before qualifying, get pole position, go back to sim racing after 2 hours, and win both the F1 and sim race the very next day. And this addiction to sim racing is what makes Max a far better driver than everyone else. He also dabbles into drifting, rallying, MotoGP, endurance racing. But another motorsport Max tried, which made headlines, is GT3, a racing category that uses vehicles based on production cars. And Max made his debut testing a Ferrari 296 under the name Franz Hermann to avoid media attention. As you can see, it has worked wonderfully. But with that being said, here's my fully updated Verstappen nickname list. Franz Hermann, Mad Max, The Flying Dutchman, Max Verstappen, my personal favorite, Sid, Max Rizstappen, gas station attendee. But back to GT3, after testing under Franz Hermann and unofficially breaking the lap record in May, Max finally competes in September, where in qualifying he had a near miss and had to overtake on the grass, but still qualifies 3rd. Then in the race he gets the lead immediately, builds a gap, hands that to his teammate, and wins his debut GT3 race at the Nürburgring with a 25-second gap. He caught everyone with their pants down. And in 2nd place was Jan Mardenbro, a sim racer that the Gran Turismo movie was based on. So there's 2 big name sim racers on the podium. Look who's laughing now, mainstream media. Video games cause violence? False. Forcing your son to be an F1 world champion does. Get it right. And another thing I like about Max that I was never able to cover in my other videos is how relatable he really is. When Max isn't nutting all over his sim racing setup, he plays other games, Minecraft, FIFA, more FIFA, Call of Duty where he rages a lot, and he watches other racing categories.
You can't park there, mate.
Also, back to sim racing. In a 2024 mental health charity race, Max put stickers all over his car, and it was pure art. Like, allow me to analyze this real quick. On the left, he put George Russell as Woody, a 10-second penalty, Sid the Sloth, Minecraft, him using a diamond helmet and a pickaxe with a speech bubble saying, "My pickaxe is fucked," and a photo that I think is his Miami 2023 post. Then on the hood, he put a photo of Lando bottling his championship in Brazil, Minecraft TNTs, a McLaren logo, and just shit posts everywhere. And now we have the rear wing, which apparently has a long text that I think it's talking about the McLaren MCL38. Pause if you need to. And in the bottom of the wing, it says "Flash if you're horny." But anyway, if it wasn't clear from the start, Max is just as acoustic as all of us. So thank you, Max, for making me look like a normal person. And with that being said, my point is, this sloth isn't an industry plant that's trying to appeal to everyone. Max is authentic, and that's why he's so popular. Like in Monza 2025, McLaren swapped positions because Lando had a slow stop.
Can't park there, mate.
Which I think is just the lamest shit ever. McLaren just loves emotionally manipulating their drivers, and this makes the races boring. But then you have Max just laughing at it.
Norris and Piastri have swapped places, Max.
Just because he had a slow stop?
It's not our business, but I guess it keeps it fair between the drivers in terms of championship.
At this point, McLaren doesn't deserve shit. And allow me to go on a little rant here. Because of McLaren, I'd rather 2025 be dominated by Verstappen. McLaren has been too busy trying not to hurt their drivers' feelings, even when I know that they know letting their drivers race is the better option. But no, they want to micromanage every move Lando and Oscar make, like parents watching their child walk for the first time.
Gotta go, hold on. Coach.
And I'm looking at you, Zach. Lando is in his mid-20s. He doesn't need your maternal instincts, goddammit. Because every time Oscar would fight Lando, McLaren would say,
Oscar, feedback from the pit wall. The maneuver in turn 4 with the front lockup was too marginal. We can't do that again.
and tell them to swap positions through emotional blackmail.
The way to win a championship is not by yourself, it's with the team. You're going to need Oscar.
McLaren give the call to Oscar Piastri to prioritise the highest McLaren driver. Team order issued. Lando Norris given back the position.
Do you think McLaren are favouring Lando over Oscar? And if so, does that help you?
Absolutely.
Like, it even got to a point where in Singapore 2025, Oscar turned off Zach's radio.
Oscar, back-to-back champions. Good race, tough race. Thank you for...
Valid crash out. Back to Max. Let's not forget he's doing all this in Red Bull, a team no one wants to join. And if they do, it's because their family's being held hostage. Now, Max has had multiple crash outs all because of this team in 2025. Silverstone. Whoa! Spain. Oh! Even V-Carb looks like the healthier team. So given that, no one wants to touch a Red Bull contract. And that's a big issue for them. But thankfully, I'm here with a solution. Dear Red Bull shareholders, I present to you my Red Bull recruitment ad. Roll it. Red Bull, a place where dreams stay as dreams, ambitions stay as ambitions, but at least you'll be ambitious for your whole life, and a place where you can experience the sheer thrill of running P17 behind a Haas or totaling your car. But in Red Bull, we won't fire you for being a creep or a toxic mess. You will only get fired for underperforming. So you want to diddle as many coworkers without any repercussions, or get diddled by coworkers? Well, Red Bull is your home. So sign that contract now, as it's time for you to play your part in completing Max Verstappen's shadow. Now, aside from that beautiful ad, the more I look at F1 people, I start to realize they're either weirdos, losers, or nepo babies. Some are even all three. So I made a little something called the F1 Diddler tier list, just to show how F1 is practically filled with disgusting creatures. First, we have Christian Horner. The surprising part is that he's actually at the bottom of this list. Then Nikita Mazepin for harassing his friend. And then we have Johnny Herbert, a former F1 driver, FIA steward, and Sky Sports reporter who was in various driver videos, and is also the same guy who sexually harassed a woman on live television.
Kill that boy! Kill that boy! Kill that boy! Kill him!
Which is why I've never stopped calling him Herbert the Pervert. And on top of this list are Flavio Briatore, Lawrence Stroll, and Bernie Ecclestone, who are apparently in the Epstein list. Now, it's only alleged whether these three have been on the island, but if they were, I'd assume Lawrence did the worst shit imaginable and then had to explain to his family how he was just there for a swim.
Jeffrey Epstein? Yeah, but before you judge me, know this. Yes, I was on the sex island, but only for the snorkeling. I didn't know anything about the kid stuff. No, look.
Now, Flavio definitely diddled the most, while Bernie spent all day with Stephen Hawking. Won't be the first time I've seen two vegetables rotting together. Now, call me harsh all you want, but remember which island we're on. And regardless, Bernie and Hawking are going to hell. 'Cause heaven has a stairway. But back to Verstappen, he's one of the good ones, and he can also multitask. Remember, he's winning F1 while being a father of 2 children, dealing with team internal politics, media days, being a husband, committing to his sim racing team, and other sports. So all this brings the final question. What's the one thing Verstappen can't do? I mean, apart from the obvious, have a good childhood to look back on, type without being a T-Rex, not choking in Call of Duty.
Max? What? You let him get up! me! No! No!
Honestly, it's tough. I think to complain about Max, you have to nitpick so hard. And that's already a sign he's super likable. Maybe he'll end up screaming a slur on stream by accident, who knows? But if I really had to think of something, I suppose the one thing Max Verstappen can't do is be as disappointing as McLaren.